Hello there everyone, my name is Krishna Vamsi Yadav and today I'm very happy to present a strategic economic analysis for TradeLink heading into the 2026 fiscal cycle. Our goal today is to bridge macroeconomic foresight with microeconomic precision. However, we are not just looking at market trends today. We are looking at how to protect our operational margins, insulate our supply chains, and secure our market leadership in a year defined by significant shifts in many different policies. Let's get right into it, and I hope you enjoy the presentation. Alright everyone, let's begin with the first topic of today's presentation, the 2026 tax cuts. From a macroeconomic perspective, these cuts boost household disposable income, which will shift aggregate demand to the right. In the short term, this will drive real GDP and elevate price levels. However, we need to be careful in the long term as prices adjust, causing the short-run aggregate supply to shift to the left. Essentially, we are looking at a temporary sales increase in our bathroom, kitchen, and laundry lines, followed by a potential rise in operational costs. We need to be proactive in this situation, locking in supply contracts for both copper and ceramic right now, as it's not just a strategy, it is a necessity to prevent inventory shortages much later on. Alright, let's move on to the next topic of today's discussion, inflation and monetary policy. Running alongside these tax changes is the Reserve Bank of Australia's contractionary monetary policy. We know that the pandemic-era stimulus created an inflationary gap. The RBA's response by raising cash rates has intentionally cooled the housing market. For TradeLink, this means the easy growth of the last few years is moderating. To protect our bottom line, we must strictly balance marginal costs and marginal revenue. This means maximizing the return on investment on our fixed assets, our showrooms for example, while ruthlessly optimizing variable costs like freight and outbound distribution commissions. Alright, we will now move on to the next topic of today's presentation. This brings us to global landscape of tariffs and trade wars. If we look at the US market, an import tariff acts as an artificial tax on foreign goods. This shifts the supply curve upward. The winners in this situation caused by such tariffs are the US domestic producers, and the losers are the US consumers along with exporters like us. For TradeLink, exporting to the US becomes more expensive, and our response here must be to minimize these risks by leveraging our absolute advantage in local distribution and focusing on specialized markets where our value is perceived at the highest. This may also incentivize us to expand into new markets in order to meet our goals and maintain our bottom line. So we will move on to the final topic of today's discussion, behavioral economics insights. We need to recognize that markets like these are made for humans, not just algorithms. We have two methods moving forward. The first method is the decoy effect. We can use the decoy effect to make premium products and services look like the better deal. The second method is loss aversion, to market water-efficient systems by highlighting how much the customer could lose in their utility bills if they do not select us. The decoy effect is simple. Consumers will look at two prices and they will likely select the more expensive one since it is slightly more expensive but will provide a higher quality product and or service at the end of the day. When it comes to loss aversion, people feel losses a lot more greatly than the gains of the same amount. Making water-efficient systems by highlighting the dollars that they've lost on utility bills is a far more effective strategy rather than just advertising how much they could save, which will improve our sales and customer satisfaction moving forward. So, what have we exactly learned throughout this presentation? We have learned about macroeconomic agility, cost and efficiency control, strategic trade position, and behavioral sales edge. When it comes to macroeconomic agility, the focus was navigating the impact of tax cuts and interest rates. We can take action on this situation by monitoring surges in demand and match our supply accordingly. When it comes to cost and efficiency control, the focus is on optimizing operations by balancing marginal costs and marginal revenue. When we take action in this situation, we manage fixed costs and variable costs to protect our bottom line. When it comes to strategic trade position, lowering the risks of international tariffs and trade wars is the main focus of that. The action we will take on it will be relying on outsourcing our comparative advantage for specialized goods. When it comes to behavioral sales edge, we focus on using behavioral economics to drive higher sales conversion. We take this action by presenting our products with loss aversion and train the staff to focus on high value, high potential clients. In summary, we will navigate the tax-driven demand surge, control our margins against interest rates, mitigate tariff risks through operational agility, and use our behavioral insights to maximize our conversion rates. TradeLink's future isn't about hoping for the best. It's about strategically positioning ourselves for the best. Thank you very much for your time, and I welcome any questions.